Yeah, give me a sec. Before this video starts, I'll be right back. Alright, let's get back into this. So, with them already finishing the 24-hour challenge, blah blah blah, they'd be sitting. Christian would be training with Kakashi, and then they'd also have their belt test. Christian would say, Sasuke, you ready? Sakura too. She goes, my strength has increased tenfold. He says, well, let's get into this. Christian shoots out, saying, when it starts, they'll jump out of the way. Christian throws a shuriken going, as it curves a tiny bit, then comes right back at Kakashi. It would hit back of Kakashi, but he just poof into a log apparently by Christian, hitting him with the 1000 jutsu, but Christian would be hit by, he'd be sent to the sky, but then he'd just be poofing. He'd just poof. Christian says, hello, as he kicks Kakashi out of the tree, going, as he picks Kakashi up by the hair and throws him into the left, but Kakashi just slides over and easily gets back on his feet. Sasuke would say, fire style, great fireball! And this absolutely obliterates the ground below that, and the trees. Sasuke's fireball is as big as Madara's majestic destroyer flame. Christian would say, ah! Crushing Kakashi's kunai with just a punch. Kakashi would go, he broke the kunai? As Christian spins off Kakashi's head by just grabbing his headband and spinning off of it, Christian says, watch out, he's gonna use the Sharingan. Kakashi uses a Sharingan, Christian closes his eyes and activates the one-tailed cloak. To at least keep up with Kakashi's skills, Sasuke activates 3 Tomoe, as Sakura pulls out 2 healing tags and slaps it onto them as she goes into close combat as well. She says, water style, raging wave. Kakashi would jump over it. Then Sasuke would go in saying, fire style, dragon flame jutsu. And a close range dragon flame hits Kakashi in the face, but then he just disappears and turns into skill disappears. Fire style, acid stream. Basically, it's like a mud wave. Style mud wall and blocks the attack. Christian says, water style, great water ball. Great liquid bullet. As he shoots from his mouth, shooting a giant liquid bullet, actually shooting multiple liquid bullets, going. Kakashi has to dodge him, but then he changes the liquid bullet, saying, water style. What was the move called again? Hold on, let me go to range type and I'll look at it. He shoots water style, raging. Severing wave. He says, water style, severing wave. Cutting Kakashi in half, but then he turns into a clone. Christian says, how much clones is he gonna use? Then he appears in front of Kakashi, saying, Chakra Stealer! As he starts draining chakra from Kakashi, he goes, ah! As he appears behind Kakashi and kicking him in the back, also took chakra from him. He says, guys! They all go, yeah! They all start boxing up Kakashi. Sakura lands a punch to his gut and he goes flying into the sky. Then Christian jumps up in the air going, Shiden! And comes down, Kakashi says, Lightning Blade! As I going, Christian They say they say fire style, raging combo kick. As they both spin around and they both activate fire style on their feet, start kicking Kakashi. Then they both kick Kakashi in the stomach, which blasts Sasuke back. He goes as Sakura and Christian Sakura snatches both bells and throws them to them. Christian and Sasuke catch, and then Christian says, "We did it." Kakashi says, "Yep, you guys did it." Then a couple of days later, they'd be finished off. AKA what I mean is, now it's time for the Kazekage rescue arc. Christian says, Sasuke, you ready? He says, yep. He says, Sakura? She goes, yep. He says, I have a plan already. Once we find the Akatsuki base, Sakura, use Earth-style pillar explosion. Actually, no, he doesn't say the plan. When they head out, they find the Sand Village and then rush to the Akatsuki base. Christian says, do it, Sakura says. Christian says, we don't have any juices that are strong enough to break this giant rock. They might crack it a little bit. Sakura jumps up in the air going, Cha! Earth-style pillar explosion! And destroys it. The rock crumbles it to pieces. Christian says, whoa, that was strong. Then he jumps to the left, right next to him, next to the pain, and kicks him. But he just phases through him, saying, damn it, it's a hologram! As he throws more shuriken at Deidara, which Deidara easily just puts his hand out, and the hand, with his tongue wraps around them. Christian says, ew! But then he says, lightning style! And activates lightning style, which cuts the tongue off. He goes, my tongue! Christian says, wind style! Destructo disc! And there's two random wind shuriken going, has two wind shuriken. Actually, Christian spins shuriken on his finger and he goes, adding wind style to it and adding wind style to the other one, like Danzo did. He goes and throws both of them, which cut up Deidara. He goes, ugh. Sasuke comes in and stabs Deidara in the arm and says, Chidori stream! As he lights him on fire. Not lights him on fire. Electrocutes him. He goes, dang it! Senbone. Then shoots Senbone out. So with this, he jumps up in the air, going, fire style, great fireball! Sasuke would absolutely clap Sasori, breaking him into his already human form, and Sakura would go to fight him, going, yeah, along with Chio, while Christian and Sasuke follow Deidara. Christian says, lightning style, lightning stream, and appears in front of Deidara, lightning streaming him, but Deidara just moves out of the way and jumps away. Christian says, damn it! Then he says, oh yeah, that move! He says, Shadow Clone Jutsu, and creates two clones. Then they both say, Wind Style! Gale Palm! And then Christian says, Shiden! Then they blast him forward. He goes, ha! And floats up, and then uses chakra pressure to blast himself up in the air. Then he blasts down, hitting him like Naruto did to that pain when he was about to kill Tsunade. He goes, Deidara would go, Christian would say, Christian with Gamabuta's sword would cut off his head. Cut off Deidara's head, but it turns out he's a clay clone. Christian senses the real one and throws a demon wind shuriken with such precision and accuracy that it cuts his head off for real. Christian says, we did it, we killed him. Christian senses a giant buildup in chakra and says, run! I sense a giant buildup in chakra. Kakashi says, do your strongest earth barrier. Christian says, earth style mud wall. And they create the tectonic, the most biggest wall ever. Not even the Sage of Six Paths could probably get past. Okay, he'd easily get past this. But not even the 5th Hokage would be able to do it. Tsunade the 5th Hokage. He'd go. Then they're finally done. Oh yeah, Sasuke's still all caught up in revenge. He still wants revenge. Then they return back to Leaf. Christian thinks to himself, what should we do now? Oh yeah, Sakura returned a couple hours later after defeating Thing. Also, Gaara got revived, all that, because Chiyo had more chakra, because Sakura was much stronger. Then, when they do this, they return back to Leaflets happily. Then it's time for their next mission, which is the Tenchi Bridge arc, but that doesn't happen in this timeline. Christian sits down telling Kakashi that he doesn't progress as faster as Sasuke or Sakura, and he doesn't know why. Kakashi says it's one simple thing. They have goals in their life. Sasuke's goal is to get revenge on his clan, get revenge for his clan by killing Itachi. Sakura wants to be the greatest kunoichi in the world, so that's her goal. He says, what's your goal? Christian says, I don't really have a goal. He says, well then by tomorrow if you find a goal tomorrow, we'll try and develop you a new jutsu. Christian smiles, going, perfect. The whole day he tries to think of a goal. Then Christian figures it out. He wants to be Hokage, really. He wants to be a great leader to this village and all the shinobi world. The next day when he comes to Kakashi, he says that he does have a goal. And Kakashi says, what is it? And Christian says that he wants to be the greatest Hokage. He goes, perfect. Now let's start on that jutsu. He says, what element would you like to use? Christian says, well, I'd like to use my wind style. He says, perfect. He says, now we have to get in. Now we want a straight transformation. Christian starts to learn it. He says, Shadow Clone Jutsu. Also, they have to find out his elements. He goes, tsh, tsh. And one side crumbles, another side burns, another side gets cut in half, and the other one turns wet. And he says, you have 4 elements. That's pretty good. So let's focus on wind style. Try and cut this waterfall that he creates. Oh yeah, Yamato's there too. Yamato created it, and then Kershun in a couple of days would finally cut it, going. Then he'd start to develop a new Rasengan, because he developed the Rasengan, which he wanted to use because it's much harder to do. He goes, and then creates like a miniature, and he says, I'll call this jutsu wind style Rasengan. He's Kakashi, sending him for hours on hours. He's still doing it. Sakura brings her POPO balls, aka poo-poo balls, aka those weird medicine balls. Christian says, I'll eat them, I don't care. Then gobbles them up, saying, I don't care about the taste. And they give him Mickey's finally finished. He goes, I did it! And he says, I'm gonna call this jutsu Wind Style Rasen Shuriken! And this timeline, he creates Rasen Shuriken. Christian and Sasuke both run up to each other, and they both say, I just developed a new jutsu! They both say, yeah! Oh yeah, Christian made Wind-Style Rasen Shuriken, Sasuke made Kirin. Then, they'd also get the news that Asuma Sarutobi is dead. Christian would say, and also the next day, Shikamaru would want revenge. And since Christian finished it early, it's Team 7 and Team 10 that would head out. When they find Kakuzu, Christian would say, I'm taking Kakuzu, you guys take, Team 10, take care of Kidan, all of you need to, it's your sensei. They go, right, as they run away, along with Shikamaru to try and get Hidan. Christian says, Team 7 is rolling out. Sasuke says, let's use our new jutsu. Christian says, we have to cut him up a little bit. Christian rushes towards him with his Gamabunta sword going, cutting right through more of his weird hair stuff, until he smashes one of his hearts. He goes, ah! Sasuke cuts the other one off, cuts another heart. Christian says, and Christian charges up a Wind-Style Rasen Shuriken, and Sasuke charges up a Kirin. Sasuke bites down, which destroys 2 of the hearts, and Christian finishes off the last one going, Rasen Shuriken! And obliterates Kakuzu. Now Kakuzu is dead, and so is Hidan, because Team 8 finished him off. Sakura barely had to do anything in this fight, because these two instantly handled it. Now, people who are new to the series, Sakura is not useless in this timeline. Good thing. She is a master of Earth Style and Fire Style, because she learned from Anko, and Anko knows Earth Style and Fire Style. And she had monster strength in part 1, so now she has much more monster strength than Shippuden. She had Medical Ninja, she already has the Byakugo seal somehow from Katsuyu. And blah blah blah. And the rest is just history. So with this over with, we're gonna get on to the Pain arc. Instead of Naruto getting the news, Christian would get the news that Jiraiya's died, and he would also go into his depression state. Yep. Then he finally gets over his thing to learn Sage Mode. So when he learns Sage Mode, he goes, yes. And then when it's time, he says, then they travel off, and he says, where's the Leaf Village? Then Pa, aka Garatora, the Geezer Frog says, oh, Ma, where did you summon us? Why didn't you summon us in the Leaf Village? He says, this is the Leaf Village. Person says, no way. Then he finds Tsunade about to get killed by, Pain. Christian says, Rasengan, and obliterates it just like Naruto did, saying, Orewa Uzumaki Kristen. And crushes the eye. Then he turns around and cuts. Then Kinato would come help, and so would Sasuke, Sakura, and Minami. And the whole friends would start to fight, going, yeah, 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 yeah. But then, Thing gets knocked back. Minami gets knocked back. Sakura goes, cha, and punches the ground, which obliterates the summoning past Pain. Christian would jump in front for a punch. It would miss, because, like, his Sage Jutsu ran out. It defeated Beset. Herself, kind of. Then Kirishima returned into the six-tailed form, getting angry that of Hinata's apparent death, but then he gets sealed in the Chibaku Tensei. Then when he does, and the night is going crazy, he tries to suppress it. Then the clan leader of the Uzumaki clan seals up the Nine Tails and takes him to a void, and he says, "Young man, you awakened. Let me help you." As he puts his hand on his head, and he awakens the Ushio-gan. Going... He says, "This ability is insanely strong." Then he also increases his Sage Mode power, so then Christian goes into Ushio Sage Mode. As he gets out of the thing and wraps Pain in chakra chains as he pulls him up, and then he punches down Pain, going... Then he... with a Rin Star Rasengan.